Hello there and welcome to one of the worst boss areas in Dark Souls. Luckily for me, there is no Capra Demon boss, because I had not planned him in this update anyway. I'm sorry. You and your nice dogs will have to wait a bit longer. No, the real reason I'm making my showcase here is because when I fly a bit up here, you guys can clearly see that this is one of the only things of the Undead Berg map that I finished building, and that is one reason why the new update will not release right away. Oh, and note that I didn't make a showcase video on the previous version. I wasn't sure how to make a video about it, mostly because the biggest addition to it was obviously the implementation of the Epic Fight mod. And that's why I will also talk about some of the features from the previous version in this video. And now, before I talk about the new weapon types I so proudly put in the title of the video, I just want to say a few things about this map and the Undead Asylum map I made in the previous version. As you may have noticed, in the last version I made a structure of the Undead Asylum which should spawn in the mountain biome, and it does, but yeah, it seems to be a bit big for the terrain. So if this map has already problems with the terrain, I think I don't have to talk about the much bigger Undead Berg map. Then it came into my mind, what if I just build the chunks myself and then add them to the newly generated world? The only issue is that there will only be one of the structure, and only at the exact point in the world where I add it. What do you guys think about this? Just write it down in the comments. I myself think that it is necessary to have these structures that way, because I don't really want to have warriors and soldiers standing randomly around in the world touching grass or something. But enough with ideas, let's talk about something that is already present here. Stamina. The green bar right next to your health bar shows your stamina. All of your actions like blocking, attacking, running or rolling, which you can do by pressing your sprint key shortly. Try it, it's really cool. It gives you iframes. Yeah. Where was I? All of these actions depend on stamina, and if your stamina bar is empty, you have a problem. While attacking, running and dodging empties your stamina, blocking or at least holding your shield up only lowers the stamina recovery rate. But it gets drained when your shield is blocking an attack. That's about everything I have to say about stamina right now, so let's go straight to the weapons. Okay, there is literally so much to say about the weapons I don't really know where to start. Maybe it will help if I explain the tooltip first. So if you hover over an item which is in this mod registered as a weapon, a tooltip can be seen. You can hold G to show the item description. The specific key can be changed in the options menu, but I think I already talked about this in the previous video. Anyways, the normal tooltip shows the physical damage the weapon deals to the enemy and two sections beneath it. The first section, named Stat Requirements, shows some names followed by numbers, and these are the names of the new stats each player has now and the level that is required in order to deal damage with the weapon. But what are these stats and where can I see them, you ask? Pressing M opens the player stat menu, where you can view your own stat levels alongside some other important things like player max HP. Each stat can be leveled via a Firekeeper, a mob which can be found in ruined structures near a bonfire. Leveling Vigor raises your max health. Leveling Endurance also raises your max stamina, and Strength and Dexterity are tied to your weapon's damage. In the weapon tooltip, under the scaling section, you can see how well each stat scales its damage up. Weapon types. Each weapon type has its own moveset containing a light attack, which can be performed by just clicking the attack button, a heavy attack, for which you have to hold the attack button, and a dash attack, where you have to press attack while running. All of these attacks differ in speed, damage type, required deflection, and the amount of stamina you lose while performing them. Speed is self-explanatory, so I'll start with the damage type. The damage type indicates what kind of damage your opponent is taking. Every mob has its own damage absorptions for each damage type, and depending on this defense value for the specific damage type, your attack will deal more or less damage to this opponent. Currently there are only 4 damage types: regular, slash, strike and thrust, which can be made out by the attack animation. The required deflection has to do with shields. While blocking an incoming attack with a shield, it decides whether the attack should be deflected or not. Deflection means that the attacker will be trapped in a deflection animation for a few seconds, leaving him open to attack. Both deflection and the required deflection cannot be viewed on any tooltip. Deflection is bound to the shield type, meaning that normal shields have a better deflection than small shields, and great shields have a better deflection than normal shields. Required deflection depends for the most part on the size of the weapon and then on the attack type, with heavy and dash attacks mostly having a higher required deflection. And now I will talk shortly about every weapon type I've added so far. The next weapon type I'd like to introduce is already present in the previous version, and it's the Great Hammer. Currently there is only one, the Demon Great Hammer, which can only be obtained by killing the Asylum Demon, a boss monster I also added in the previous version. Great Hammers in general are heavy weapons, therefore requiring a large amount of strength. Because they hit the ground so hard, they let dust particles appear and foes get crushed under them. Spears. Spears do have a long range and can even be used with the shield up. But they are centered around thrusting attacks, meaning you have to aim your attacks precisely. There are 2 spear items in this mod, the normal spear, which can be crafted like so, and the winged spear, which is a bit longer than the normal spear. I still have to think of whether I will make it craftable or not. Axes and hammers. And yeah, they do already exist in normal Minecraft, but like with the straight sword, I just added movesets to them. There is a new axe though, it is called the Battle Axe, makes a bit more damage, etc. As for hammers, there is no real hammer in the mod yet, but in Dark Souls pickaxes are classified as hammer weapons, so I made the hammer animations just for them. Both of these weapon types deal heavy damage and let opponents flinch easier when the attack hits. Yay! My favorite weapon type! Great swords are not as strong as great hammers, but the attack animations in general are way faster. But they still require some strength to wield properly. Great swords are currently being represented by the Zweihander, one of the best early weapons in the original Dark Souls. This one will definitely not be craftable. Instead, I will hide it somewhere in the Firelink Shrine map when I'm done building it. So stay tuned for that. And I think that is basically everything I have to say about weapon types. There is just one thing before I show you the new 2 enemies, and that is the weight mechanic. Every weapon, shield or armor piece has its own weight value. When equipping one of these items, the player's equip load gets increased. Each player can only carry a certain amount of equip load, which is somewhat determined by the vitality attribute. Each time your equip load increases, your movement speed will decrease, and if the equip load reaches 50% or higher of the maximum equip load, your rolling animation will get more heavy and slower. So always keep that in mind whenever you enter a battle. Enemies. I've only added 2 new enemies for now. The Hollow Warrior of Lordran, which can have a straight sword and a cracked round shield or just a battle axe. And the Hollow Soldier of Lordran, a more buff version of the warrior, wielding either a sword or spear and shield, or just a crossbow. Like the normal Hollow, they all have their own attack patterns for each weapon they can wield, and they can drop their equipment, this time even including their armor. They will most likely spawn in the Undead Burg, the map I'm standing in right now, but maybe in a few places around it too. Now that is everything I've got for now. Of course there are still many things to do, like building the maps and at least adding the Taurus demon, if not more enemies for this update. This will, by the way, be released for the Minecraft version 1.18.2. I hope you liked what you saw. If so, then feel free to press like. If not, feel compelled to press like, and goodbye for now.